Hey, welcome back to Bridges. We are talking to the Reverend Dr. Otis Gordon from Warren AME and the Reverend Dr. Robert Culp, who's the senior pastor at the First Church of God in Christ. We're talking about the Toledo Community Coalition, an organization that you all have been a major part in founding that's designed to change things for African Americans in the Central City. I presume African Americans all over the city that need assistance. Would that be correct in saying?
Where there is a concentration of African Americans. For example, we understand that there are African Americans living in other parts of the city
Absolutely.
where there is a concentration of other ethnic groups. But we want to deal with the issues and the problems that African Americans face. And as we talk about that, one of the things that we as ministers have come together and realized that we do not have all the answers. And we deliberately sought out other voices, agencies that we felt that could be a part of this solution. And to that end, we have put together a document bringing together the economics, the housing, the quality of life.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the content of that document a little
employment,
bit.
Yes.
So,
for example, in economic development, we brought together a group of people who are professionals with that from the African American community, and what they've done is to say that they put down some goals and objectives they would like to achieve.
What would be one of their primary goal?
What they call 20 by 20.
Okay.
That to 20% of revenue for jobs that could be produced by the year 2020.
It's a pretty aggressive goal.
Yes. That is all the revenue that will come into the Toledo area. 20% of that revenue will go towards African Americans. Now, achieving that's going to be quite a task.
And is there a plan associated with that, or is that just a thought?
They're going. That's the beginning. That's the beginning stage.
Okay.
But at least there is a discussion on that that would lead to a real plan to implement that by the year 2020.
And the idea behind that is what? Better self-sufficiency?
Yes, well, it's really a matter of inclusion, and when you talk about quality of life, obviously economics has a great deal to do with it. Mm-hmm. By the way, I want to make sure that we give the clear impression that this is not simply a church or a clergy organization or undertaking here. This is intended for the whole community.
And it's also a multicultural organization, we might want to stress as well. So it is not just a group of minorities at the table. There are Caucasians involved at the table as well, and Hispanics as well, as I seem to recall. So,
yes, there is.
So it is a multicultural approach to this problem.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And to speak to the economic development part of it, the idea is to create entrepreneurial partnerships that will underscore the need to move this process forward, to develop drive skills banks that will help to develop this. The idea to put in place all of those entities necessary to undergird the need for economic development in the African American community, and particularly for entrepreneurship, because we realize that that's going to be an integral part of the solution.
Moving forward, you're absolutely right. Pastor Culp, is there another focus of the organization in addition to economic development?
Yes. What we're really seeking to do is to approach all areas of life. Now, we're not reinventing the wheel. We are confident there are other groups in the country obviously facing the same circumstance and dealing with it. And we've even brought to our community a group from Baltimore, Maryland, that seems to be successful at where we're trying to go. Mm-hmm. Needs are so great, resources are so limited. What should be the priorities for what you have and how to go about it, so that we're utilizing these consultants to really help us put together a plan that will make a difference. We're seeking the input of professionals in all of these other arenas, again, not just clergy. But we are a part of it, and we have a responsibility. But we know it's going to take the whole community working together to really be able to put together a strategy that is effective and accomplishing these goals.
Okay, when you guys come back, and I hope you do come back, because we're not really going to have enough time to go into the detail I'd like to go into relative to this really, really important initiative. But one of the things I want to talk about is the idea that in order for us to get anything done as a community, we all have to work together to get it done. I would submit to you that that's never going to happen, and if that is the foundation upon which this change is built, change will never happen if we all have to work together to get it done. But that's another show.
I think it
that's
happens
another
through
show.
inclusion.
I think it starts through inclusion, but you know, I think it starts through inclusion. And again, I think that's another show. But one of the great things that I know that this group has done has been to bring in, was it the Association of United Black Charities?
The Association of Black Charities from Baltimore, Maryland.
From Baltimore, and that's the group that you referenced, and they do have a model that has caused significant change.
We were
in
really
Baltimore.
impressed with their model. It has been very successful. It has worked in a place that is probably politically more divisive than Toledo.
Absolutely.
And we've said if it could happen in Baltimore, it can happen in
anywhere.
Toledo.
Absolutely.
So therefore, we have looked at that model as a possibility of advancing what we're trying to do in health and education and economic development and quality of life here in the city of Toledo.
They essentially, though, are like the United Way for Black organizations. Would that be fair?
That would be a broad description.
Okay.
But they do more than just funding. They seek to set outcomes for groups.
Yes.
They have a staff that literally follows it through and makes sure that those funds that are invested in each of these groups are accomplishing what they have really set out.
That's absolutely true.
And they do an excellent job on research.
Excellent job.
Because they have said over and over again that if you don't have the problem properly researched, you won't have the right answers.
That's right. Data-driven decisions, critical.
So that's what we have taken from that's one of the things we've taken from their process. They're very good at researching the problem, putting the data together, and the data determines how you attack the issue.
Absolutely.
And I think that we can benefit from that. You know, it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to have the data to prove that what you're talking about supports what you're attempting to do.
May I make a brief statement, though? We really believe that this particular coming together is different from anything else. I've been on the scene here for more than 50 years, and I'm more hopeful.
I affectionately call him the Godfather of Toledo.
but I'm more hopeful about this group and this journey we're on than anything else. I really have a sense of destiny involved here. Probably the best thing that we ministers, we clergy bring to the table is a confidence in both revelation and miracles. And we're confident because this will require the spiritual community to undergird it, because we just need God's help, and there's no way around it. And we bring that part of it to the table, and we really feel that there's something permanent and something powerful in what this is about. So it isn't a matter of simply saying, hey, come agree with us. This is something that we see reaching out to a community and saying all of us together, by God's help, are going to make this a better place.
And again, just so that people haven't gotten lost in our conversation, the group is really looking to affect change over several areas: education, housing, economic development, healthcare, quality of life.
Yes.
That is the focus.
Which covers a little of everything.
Do you have any funders involved in this conversation?
We have potential funders, and I don't know if we want to mention those at this time.
We won't mention them by name, but we yes. are, there's no question that it's going to take all of our resources, including financial resources. Whenever any group sees their investment being just that, an investment that has a return to it, we feel that those resources will be made much more available. But whenever resources have been given where in our city there are those who have termed the central city as kind of a wasteland, that the old phrase, pouring good money after bad, that we're making the whole deeper.
I heard that in discussion. Everybody heard that particular comment in discussion, and it's one of those that sort of hangs in the air and just won't go away. Why do you think there is that perception?
We took offense to that because we felt that
and again, for people who didn't hear it, the comment was that the central city was a wasteland, right?
And we can understand that there's severe poverty, there's severe issues. But I wanted to say earlier when we dealt with this topic that for us it's a justice issue. And it involves a justice issue because it deals with systemic racism, systemic issues that have impacted our community for years. It is not by accident that we are where we are. And let's be clear about that. What we're attempting to do is to say, yes, let's admit that we've made some mistakes. And we have to hold ourselves, meaning the African American community, accountable for what we've done wrong. But then let's admit that we have made some mistakes and move forward.
Now, you saved your most provocative point for the last 45 seconds of the show. The whole issue of this being systemic racism makes it sound as though you believe that the disinvestment in the central city is deliberate. I just need a yes or a no.
Yes.
Is that yes?
Absolutely.
Is that all right? All right. We're going to have to come back for sure and explore that particular piece of this conversation. For right now, as we leave, though, we want folks to know that this coalition is alive and well. You need people to help. Yes. Make this work. That is how you will get in touch with folks. You can call First Church of God at that number and get further information about this particular coalition. We need to go away for just a second, but we'll be right back. Join us.